there's a professor.
Just like everything in the world sometimes ties back into sports. So we're this week, the new thing that everybody's freaking out about is this Bad Bunny playing the halftime show. So I wake up this morning to a freaking headline about Danica Patrick comment that Bad Bunny should not be allowed to play the Super Bowl because he only does songs in Spanish. And if you're going to have the biggest American event, you have to do songs in English. People actually are going to Danica Patrick for freaking opinions now. This is a woman who a year ago admitted she had never voted until 2024. It's a woman who really has two areas of expertise. One, crashing race cars.
Yes, whatever she drove.
I mean, honestly, if you are looking for advice on how to crash a race car, Danica Patrick may be the leading authority of the world on that subject. But now she's commenting on culture, and her biggest contribution to culture was doing those dirty ads for GoDaddy that used to get banned from the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Used to strip in the shower for GoDaddy. I think GoDaddy's even out of business now.
I don't know if they exist.
Now that she's no longer stripping for the commercials. So when you talk about being crude and content for the Super Bowl, I'm not sure you're qualified to take a moral stance on that, Danica.
Seems like a nice choice.
So again, it takes us back to the only thing Danica Patrick's really qualified to comment on is crashing cars. If you have like an insurance situation and you need to crash a car, Danica Patrick is your go-to.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Especially morning, you sorry-ass Dolphin fans. I took the time, having to cancel my appearance and my speech today at a MAGA rally, to come this morning and speak with you on that pathetic representation of a sportscast, the Defo Show, with that sorry producer, Mike Lubitz. Morning, everybody. I'm Daffy Lovejoy, and this is yet another edition of Dolphins Crying Towel. Seems like we do this every week. Dolphins Crying Towel, very appropriate. You Dolphin fans, so silly. Still going to be marching to that pathetic facility, Hard Rock Stadium, which is better suited for Grand Prix racing and tennis than it is for football, certainly on the professional level. You can continue to pay the $14 for a beer and the $100 to park and the $300 for tickets where you can barely see the team down on the field. They look like a small colony of ants running around aimlessly under the guidance of your head coach, if you can call him that, Mike McDaniel. How much longer will you Dolphin fans put up with this nonsense? That wasn't the Green Bay Packers in their heyday. That wasn't the Purple People Eaters. That wasn't the doomsday defense they were facing. That was the sorry-ass Carolina Panthers. Losers of game after game after game after game after game. With one of the biggest mistakes in the history of the NFL draft, Bryce Young, a waif-like 6-footer, barely even that, throwing the football against your defense, which was supposed to be much improved under Anthony Weaver. I don't know that I would have the guts to tell Weaver that his defenses suck to his face. Did you see the size of that man's arms? I'm not stupid. I'm not that guy that was trying to fight Mark Sanchez. But I will tell you this. When you're leading 17-0 against a team that turned the ball over on its first two possessions, and you can't hold that lead, and finally lose the game in the fourth quarter to drop to 1-4, it's time to do a little bit of self-examination. We've been telling you that for years. Just look at your record over the last 20 years. 143 and 170. Not exactly the kind of stuff that would have you signing up and calling the Dolphins offices to renew your season tickets. Not if you had a brain in your head. What are we talking about? Chasing windmills? You people are as sorry as number 45 and number 47, and you know what I'm talking about there. As I mentioned, we don't like to delve into politics, and I am a full blown MAGA supporter. I really believe in what they're doing. I love rounding up children in Chicago and zip tying their hands behind their back. It's a lot more entertaining than watching Dolphin football. That's a certainty. You can't possibly believe that this is going to be a winning franchise anytime in the future. Even an idiot like Lubie has been screaming for years now that Chris Greer has to go. Mike McDaniel has a winning record, but against what? He'd be lucky to beat Kent State in a game, head to head, much less any of the top teams in the National Football League. You can't beat a winning team, and now you can't beat a losing team. Carolina ran the football for over 200 yards. What was Mike McDaniel's philosophical statement after the game? Well, geez, he says, if you get outrushed for 200 yards, by 200 yards, you barely won. Oh boy, Mike, nice discovery. How long have you been studying the National Football League? That was Rico Dowdle that ran for 200 yards as an individual. He's a backup, for God's sake. They could have run Chuck Dowdle out there and still gained a couple of 100 yards on the ground. The only thing to take home and take heart with was the fact that you can revel in other teams' failures. Yes, the Buffalo Bills were defeated by the Patriots. There are no more teams that are unbeaten so far in the National Football League in 2025. And that means you can pop the champagne. Let's hope it's a cheap bottle of Andre Cold Duck because this celebration is getting very lame. But your only claim to fame is that nobody has gone unbeaten since the 1972 Miami Dolphins team. Hell, gas was under 50 cents a gallon in 1972. How old are you to keep hanging on to this as the one thing that the Miami Dolphins have on their record that actually distinguishes them as a winning football franchise? Let's get over the past, people. Let's jump into reality. Your team flat out, as Lubie would say, sucks. Sucks, sucks, sucks. It applies to the New York Jets. Embarrassingly, my friends, so does it apply to the Miami Dolphins. Good luck, Dolphin fans, the rest of the way. As I said, if you want to continue to pay to see this Drek, then I have a charity that you can go ahead and wire the money directly to via Zelle. I'll put my phone number out on the air in a graphic here and just send me your money instead. Stephen Ross doesn't need it. He's happy with what's going on. In fact, after the game against Carolina, he came into the locker room with a broad smile on his face and his henchmen behind him and applauded and said, let's run it back. And that's exactly what you're about to do next week as the Chargers try to rebound from their own personal troubles and an embarrassing loss. And we'll stick it to you once again right up your ass as the Miami Dolphins will fall to 1-5. That's Dolphins Crying Tell, and I'm Godfrey Lovejoy. I might pop in there, Luby. A little argument there. I don't know. I mean, is that it? Is that what we're relegated to now with this Miami Dolphins team? I'm not going to.
When I can't deny anything he said.
Yeah.
He literally is my spirit animal today.
The only thing left is to revel in somebody else's failure. When that is your approach to life, that you don't care. I mean, whatever happens to you, it doesn't matter how miserable your performances are. As long as everybody else fails, you feel good about things. That's pretty much where we're at right now. I mean, we're going back to 1972. That was one positive that came out of yesterday's National Football League schedule. If you were a follower of the Miami Dolphins, up 17-zip, Luby. I'm watching this game.
Yep.
By the way, there was a Jim Sarney social sighting. He came out. He
I heard.
to come to Brews Room. He was having a great time, and his back was fortunately to the screen that the Dolphin game was on because he wasn't making too many comments about how nasty the play was. How do you lose that game? I mean, you talk about the crystal ball factor. Wow. I mean, you're up 17-zip. All you have to do is just continue to put a little bit of pressure on the other team. Lose that ball game. Fall to 1-4 now on the season. Hot seat Mike McDaniel. I don't even know if it matters anymore.
No, he's done.
Well, I'm looking at this list of coaches that they've had. And since Jimmy, you've had now Mike McDaniel. This is going in reverse order.
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel, Brian Flores, Adam Gase was supposed to be a genius.
Yep.
Did have Dan Campbell, who turned out to be a hell of a coach. You let that guy go.
Really good coach.
Up until Philbin. Before Philbin, on a very brief interim basis, what was it? One game? Todd Bowles was the interim coach. You let him go. Tony Sperano, unfortunately, checked out. Coco Cameron was a miserable mistake. Nick Saban was 15-17. Jim Bates really is one of the forgotten guys that I think he coached 7 games.
He was an interim guy after Wannstedt.
Yeah, and Wannstedt, who actually had a winning record, one of the few guys there that posted a largely upside winning record, but everybody was aware of the fact that he wasn't exactly the dynamo that you were looking for. And when you had a chance to replace him, I mean, they were obsessed with Nick Saban coming in. Then, of course, the Dolphin medical staff made the huge error by saying, hey, you know what? I don't think this Drew Brees is ever going to lift his right arm above his shoulder again. Oh. He goes on to a Hall of Fame career after joining the New Orleans Saints. But, I mean, that's a game that's hard to play, isn't it, as a sports observer? Because we don't know. I mean, he gets Sean Payton and the New Orleans Saints. If he was here with Nick Saban, it's hard to imagine that Nick Saban would have had no success with Drew Brees, but he certainly would have done better, I would think, with Brees than he did with Dante Culpepper, who literally came to the Dolphins facility for some sort of preliminary interviews about whether or not he was going to become the Dolphins quarterback, and was delivered to the coach's office in a wheelchair. And they're looking at Brees as if he's got a problem. Very, very frustrating over the last many years. Really poor performance yesterday, though. Once you got past the 17-0, they allowed Carolina to come back into the ball game in the first half. What was it? 17? Did it get to 17-10 at halftime? Was that the deal?
Yes. They had a chance to go down and get points before half. They did nothing. They gave the Panthers the ball with, I don't know, a minute something, around 2 minutes, and the Panthers went down the field and got Did they get it? Yeah, they got a field goal. They got a field goal before half and made it 17-10.
Wow. And then, wow, unbelievable. How about this coaching decision, Lubie? Sarni actually vaguely tried to justify this, saying the Dolphins still had their 3 timeouts. But with 1:10 to go in a ball game, and you're down 3 points, you have a 4th down, and let's not be overly critical. It wasn't like it was 4th and 1, but the likelihood of making the 4th down was small, no question. But if you punt the ball away and they make 1 first down, you lose the game. Regardless of your 3 timeouts. And even if you punt the ball away, you're still going to be stuck in your own territory with even less time to go. The decision to punt the ball, that was astounding to me. I don't know about you, Lubie. How do you punt the ball away in that spot? 1:10 to go, you're down 3. The likelihood of you winning, I mean, did they have the mathematical guys up there, the sabermetrics guy, the analytics guys? All these
with like 40-something seconds, and they would have had no timeouts. So, like, it just...
And in all likelihood, right back deep in their own territory.
Mm-hmm.
That seemed preposterous to me. I mean, I'm thinking if you don't do something right here, I keep going back to Joe Goosen when he was talking to Diego Chico Corrales, who had already been floored 2 times by Jose Luis Castillo in a bloodbath of a fight, and they're in the 10th round. And he comes back to the corner there after being knocked down 2 times. And Goosen says to him, you better effing do something about this right now. And I'm thinking, how's he going to do something about it? But if you don't, you're going to lose. So taking that opportunity and punting the ball instead of taking a shot at making a 4th down, you're going to lose the game if you punt the ball away. That would have been – you can't be that conservative, can you, Louie? I don't know how you felt about that one, but that really spooked me. I'm looking at that going, my God, this guy's a loser. He doesn't see it. That the percentages can't possibly be with punting the ball away in that situation. I don't know how you felt about that.
I mean, the whole game.
Would you have done it? I mean, were you equally stunned as I was that they were going to line up in punt formation and give the ball back to Carolina? And you know how that goes. Everybody gets lined up in a tight formation. You're figuring Carolina is just going to plunge the ball right into the middle of the line. And inevitably, somebody breaks a run off and gets a first down, and then it's ball game over. So
No, it was worse. They actually got the stops needed, and they got a dumbass pass interference.
penalty, yeah, pass
Pass
interference.
interference on a 3rd and 7 where the ball was thrown into the stands. It was like, yeah, that's about right. Look, I mean,
Unbelievable.
you're up 17-0 against what was arguably the worst team in football. I mean, now clearly it's the Dolphins, but was
Well,
arguably
the Jets would have to have that distinction. So
Jets are rough too, but don't they have a win, right? So all these teams have
0 wins. Jets
they
are
have no win. Okay, so the Jets are the worst because they did lose to the Dolphins. Fine. So the Dolphins are second worst. The Panthers did, now again the Patriots look like a better team than or a lot of people thought they'd be interesting.
great point you made though about the Patriots. I want to elaborate on that when you're done.
And we'll talk about that. But the Patriots just beat this Panther team by 30. Like the Patriots aren't that good. This is you were up 17-0. I know there's no Tyreek Hill, but you've added Darren Waller, who's been a breath of fresh air. Jalen Waddle looked solid. You have H-Hands there. So you have some weapons there. You're up 17-0, and you don't score for 2.5 quarters. You don't score all of the second, all of the third. It takes you to the middle of the fourth. And that was only because they have the Panthers, who were once down 17-0, had moved the ball every single drive on the ground of all things. And took a lead. So finally the offense woke up, gets the lead back with they should have used more time, but it's like it's the freaking Panthers. If you can't stop the freaking Panthers, well, 4.5 minutes left. The Panthers get the ball and they go right down the field.
Wow.
Minutes and get an easy touchdown. So now it's like, okay.
They threw the ball to a guy who had 4 catches for 8 yards. He was a former number 1 pick, this Xavier Leggett. Yes. And they just threw the ball into a spot, and he happens to catch it. Yeah, still was time to come back though. That's the thing.
Well, they had 2 minutes. I think they had their timeout. They had their timeouts too. They had like 2 minutes.
Yeah, they had their 3 timeouts.
And now they can't do anything because this is really the thing that Tua struggles with.
Yes.
Like when you score 4.5 minutes, there's actually time in the game. The going and winning a game, which is what even I've had to just sort of eat. Tua is horrendous at it. And that's what this was. He had 2 guys open and wasn't even near them. Throws 2 horrendous balls. And then the third
threw one like 6 feet over the guy's head.
And 3rd and 10, they can't give him time. You know, obviously they're going to bring the house in the offensive line. It's an abomination. So now it's 4th and that they would have gone for them 4th, but the problem is 3rd and 10, they actually lost like 10 yards.
Yes.
So now it's like 4th and 20.
Such ugliness.
So punted. Maybe we'll get it back. I still don't know how that would have worked because I know they only needed a field goal, but like I guess they would have gotten it back with like a minute left. So I guess you can get in field goal range in a minute, or less. It was going to be like 40 something seconds. I don't know. I didn't know how the math worked. To me, it's like you just go for it. Whatever the 4th down is, you go for it. See if you can get it or not.
May as well.
He then punts it, and it's like, okay, you're not seeing this ball again. Have you just watched this defense get torched?
Didn't you know that they were never going to get it back?
I mean, for sure. The only 2 stops they got, the 2 turnovers, were just Bryce Young being the Bryce Young that everyone's called the bust. Like,
well, and where is it likely that more can go wrong? I mean, if you punt the ball away, you have the 3 timeouts. Yes, you can stop the clock and might get the ball back, but there were just too many variables there. Over, hey, let's see if we can hit one play and sustain this thing, and then we still have plenty of time to not only potentially tie the game but win the game. You should have never been in that position in the first place. I mean, that's the obvious thing. But, wow, just an ugly performance. To lose to Carolina like that. That was one we go back to the Segredo pre-season schedule point.
Oh, yeah.
And you would have circled a big W around that Carolina game. They had 1 win on the season, kind of an aberration. They had beaten the Falcons 30-0 on their home field. Showed little promise other than that. You get run over. We could do the Oliver Donnie thing here because Dowdle had 2 runs of 1 of 53, 1 of 43. So that's 96 of his 206 yards on 2 runs. So let's go ahead and do that. Well, if you took those 2 plays out of there, we held them to 100 and change. That's still bad. There's no question. And Bryce Young, not exactly a dynamo. It's and Tua, I've watched, for some reason, I'm always catching the end of Tampa Bay Bucks games. I mean, Baker Mayfield in the end game versus Tua is no contest. Now, Mayfield's having a remarkable season with regard to final minute game-winning drives. But Tua just always seems to come up lame in that spot. He did it against the Buffalo Bills, against Carolina. It doesn't matter who he's facing for whatever reason. Does he just freeze when he gets into a position where it's on him to lead a drive to win a game? When was the last time we saw him lead a game-winning drive late in a ball game?
I don't know. With every quarterback, they usually show that stat. They didn't even show the stat for
Yeah.
Tua. It shows how little he's done it. I guess he's done it before. I can't even
Do you have any
remember.
comeback wins, Tua?
I don't know. He's not good. Look, that third down, he got no time, but the first and second down, he had time and he had open guys. He just wasn't even close. It's like, okay.
Always seems to make an horrendous pass at that time, even though for the most part he's a fairly accurate passer, or always has been on
He gets
on
time.
his short stuff. So yeah, another ugly loss for the Miami Dolphins. They fall to 1-4. Quickly have made themselves 5 games into the season. They're pretty much irrelevant already.
Yes.
You don't see them rallying, and even though they have some soft spots, you were mentioning the Saints are upcoming on the schedule. All of a sudden, the Saints not only are in a little bit of a battle and start to give a better account of themselves against Buffalo, but they beat the Giants yesterday, straight up.
Yes.
Which will have Giant fans screaming and abandoning ship. And all of a sudden, the fire Brian Daboll conversation went from almost a Tommy DeVito thing with Jackson Dart to what the hell is this? As Dart had 3 turnovers in a ball game. So wild day all around the National Football League. The Bills do lose to the Patriots. And I wanted to mention this because here's what I was looking at this morning as I was sitting on the throne trying to figure out where we're going with the show and what kind of narrative we have with the Miami Dolphins. Now, I will admit that I thought Mike Vrabel being hired by the Patriots was one of the most overrated moves that took place in the offseason. Okay, maybe Gerard Mayo wasn't cut out for the job. Turned out to be a mistake. To Robert Kraft's credit, he realized this wasn't going to be happening, and he quickly changed directions and got the guy that what was highly coveted by so many teams and highly touted by so many people in the media. Everybody thought, whoa, you got to get Vrabel. You got to get Vrabel. You mentioned it. He had a decent run at Tennessee. And
it
then
started strong, but it flamed out.
Yes. But, I mean, if you look at what's happened with the Patriots, their first couple of games, now one of them was against the Dolphins, which they somehow miraculously won with the Dolphins spitting the bit once again. But you would have to say that you've seen significant improvement with this Patriot team through the first 5 games of the season.
Yes.
They absolutely paced Carolina the previous week. And then last night, I mean, they don't have the horses to beat the Buffalo Bills, do they?
Not supposed to.
Diggs was brilliant. Drake May showed a lot of promise in his rookie season, but they only won, 4 games last year?
Yes.
People had high expectations in terms of Vrabel turning the team around. I think the over-under total for the Patriots was something in the neighborhood of 8 and a hook.
It was 8 or 9, yeah.
I didn't see that. I will be the first to admit I did not see them being a very good team this year. They didn't look that great in that game against the Dolphins. They somehow managed to eke out a win against a lousy Dolphin team. Yep. But if you look at what's happened in the first 5 weeks of the season with the Patriots versus what's happened with the Miami Dolphins, who would you give the edge to in terms of being able to coach a team up to maximize its potential?
Vrabel by a lot.
Correct. I mean, how could you not? That's what's really troubling. And on top of that, think about this. This guy Donald goes for 2 big runs and totals 206 yards rushing. Carolina, a lousy team, had 3 of its offensive linemen out due to injuries in this game. And you can't suppress their running game?
Oh, Jesus. They were missing on
3
a bad
offensive linemen were out. Lubie, out, O-U-T, out of action there, and did not play in the game. And they still beat you. They beat the hell out of you at the line of scrimmage, running the football right down your throat. So that was ugly. I don't know what else to say about it. Like I said, the lone salvation, Godfrey pointed this out, the lone salvation. And by the way, I mean, is it surprising that he's speaking at a MAGA convention today or is scheduled to? No, not at all.
Yeah.
That's the way he rolls. But, yeah, I mean, to just get run over like a truck like that. And then, again, a very mealy-mouthed Mike McDaniel after the ball game. He's running out of things to say that can pacify even the most ardent of Dolphin backers and make him think, oh, well, this guy's got control of the situation. So we're stuck there. I mean, that run it back last year by Stephen Ross was a bad omen.
The dumbest things. Yeah. I mean, look, it's a waste. I get it. You can't keep changing. Fine. But when you know things aren't working, you change. I called this a wasted year because I thought they'd win like 7 games. They wouldn't get a high draft pick. They wouldn't be good. So they'd get another team pick. They'd have to go get a GM and head coach after the year. It's definitely a wasted year because they're possibly the worst team in football. I mean, I guess it's the Jets and then them, but that's not the company you want to keep.
Tennessee
So,
even got a win yesterday.
so you're keeping them. You kept them to try and get a first pick. It's not even a draft where you want a first pick. There's literally no quarterback that looks like they're even first round caliber, let alone sucking on purpose for. So
Certainly not Arch Manning.
no, Arch isn't good. The kid with
No.
South Carolina is not even playing, and when he plays, he gets hurt all the time. There's really no quarterback that's I mean, Carson Beck's fine, but he's not. I mean,
Carson
not-
Beck was razor sharp. That gets into the Cristobal factor again. And, of course, that was a big college game. Yeah, I mean, around the NFL yesterday, some exciting games. That Vikings-Bears game, I was torn on that one because I had selected the Vikings as one of my better plays on our Break the Bank show here on Bleacher Brothers. And sitting on 4-0, waiting for the Chiefs game tonight. So having a pretty good run picking NFL games, which is surprising because it really does look like a dartboard to me, most of these games going in. I didn't think, I mean, is Indianapolis that good? My God.
I don't know. They keep winning.
Las Vegas put 40 points on the board. We'll have to try and get a hold of Charlie Partridge and see what's going on there because they also completely stymied the Las Vegas Raiders. I did not expect that. I don't know. Anything starting? The Eagles lose. That was interesting. I was sitting with a guy along with Jim Sarney who had a 4-team parlay. Think about this. This is how treacherous it is to be gambling. And as we've said many, many times, the literal translation, French to English, of parlay is you're effed.
Yeah.
I'm ducked. So this guy's sitting on a 4-team parlay. He who did the Jets got slaughtered by? Who did they play? The Jets yesterday. They got absolutely crushed like a grape. And so he has that. He has the winning side there. He has another game that's a complete rout where he couldn't lose. I mean, he might have had the Colts. And then the other two games he
He
has.
got rocked by the Cowboys.
Yeah, okay.
He got annihilated by the Cowboys.
Annihilated, okay. So he's got the Cowboys. He had the Colts. And they're both in runaways. And he's watching then the other two 1 o'clock games that he had in his parlay. So he has the Eagles, who are up 14 on the Denver Broncos. And he has the Dolphins, who are up 17 on the Carolina Panthers. And you're thinking, all right, Eagles remain undefeated. They coast to this win somehow. And there looked like no possibility whatsoever that the Dolphins could lose that game from 17-zip. And he ends up losing both of them, which was kind of a surprise. So no unbeaten teams left in the National Football League. And the Miami Dolphins are sitting there very near the bottom, dropping anchor at 1-4. I don't know. I mean, we'll surely get into the Dolphins versus Chargers. Chargers are kind of enigmatic. I know you're not a big fan of Justin Herbert.
No, I think he's fine. And you have to give him the nod in the Herbert Tua debate, but not by a lot because his Chargers, even now with Jim Harbaugh, find a way to be underwhelming, a lot worse than they're supposed to be.
Would you rather still have Herbert?
No. I mean,
you always wanted Tua over Herbert. You were very demeaning, disparaging to Justin Herbert, saying that he was an overblown talent, that the team was losing. Now they've kind of condensed down what Herbert's impact on the game needs to be to win under Harbaugh, because they were grinding out a lot of close victories, and it seemed like a worthwhile strategy. Take some of the pressure off this guy. How did the Dolphins have like 4 yards rushing in this game too? That's another.
Couldn't run at all. The Panthers defensive line had 2 sacks through 4 full games. I think they got 3 or 4 sacks yesterday alone.
Unbelievable. All right, so let's put that to bed for a while, because there were many other things that transpired in the world of sports. You had the baseball playoffs, second round getting underway. Yankees getting crushed by Toronto 2 games in a row. So they're down 0-2 in a best-of-5 series. Very prohibitive situation, very tenuous there. Seattle and Detroit have played 2 really entertaining games, if you like low-scoring games. But this guy Polanco hits 2 homers off Tariq Skubal. And Detroit ends up losing. It still turned out to be kind of a thriller in Manila in front of the the rabid Seattle fans yesterday. 3-2, the M's win that. So they're 1-1. And today you have 2 more games on the schedule, with the Dodgers up 1-0 on Philadelphia. They're going to send Blake Snell out to the mound against your man, Luzardo, who is the former Marlin and a local kid who's made good, had a great season for Philadelphia this year. And then you have the Cubs down 1-0 to Milwaukee, who crushed the Cubs in the first game. And so that game's taking place, I guess, gets underway 9 o'clock, 6 and 9 o'clock for the baseball games today getting started. And we have to get to the college slate, Lubie.
Mhm.
What did you think? I mean, this Cristobal factor is going to be there are going to be bettors just playing Russian roulette, literally with like two bullets in the chamber.
Yeah.
You're up 28-3, laying 4 and a hook if you had that game and you had
You
Miami.
really should have lost, actually. Norvell actually did you. Norvell did the reverse Tice. Ken was trying to call it the Tice. It wasn't the Tice. He used the Tice the actual way you're supposed to use it, and it almost gave them a shot
My
at
God.
fully coming back from 28-3. But what he really should have done, just because why not, to really make the score look closer than the game was get the touchdown there. And then the bettors would have been totally jobbed. I actually felt
There seemed to be no way when it was 28-3. There was no way. You're doing the math. You're thinking there's no way
no.
that you could lose to the point spread there.
Yeah, no. Look, I never gave Mario crap
Which
because
was the only important criteria, of course.
what he did was they were never going to lose, no matter how. And they went very conservative offense, and the FSU offense did whatever it wanted.
Yeah.
So it was literally the worst case scenario for UM. And even then, there was no way they were going to lose. So I was like, you know what? Him going into a shell here actually is the smartest thing, because Beck, for as good as he's looked, is horrendous with pressure. Like, if he has any pressure, it's like Brady. Like, he doesn't even try to make a play. He doesn't try to avoid it. He doesn't try to throw. He just throws it anywhere. Like, he's horrible with pressure. So that's the worst thing for UM, is if Tony White, who doesn't dial up pressure ever for some stupid ass reason, if he finally takes his head out of his ass and decides to start blitzing the crap out of Beck, that's the one way you could lose, is if FSU gets interception touchdowns or turnovers deep in the Miami territory and allows FSU to score quickly. Because that was the one thing, even when FSU scored, they were very, very, very long drives that shortened the game. So I didn't mind the strategy, but the spread should never have been up in the air either, and the spread was very much up in the air, which is weird.
Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I switched it off because I thought the game was in the bag, even from the standpoint of the spread. And I was watching, I guess, baseball during the course of the evening, and I couldn't believe it was 28-22, the final. I'm thinking they actually squeezed in a field goal there, and that's incredible. But how many times can Mario just put a lid on this crap? It's enough already. I was giving the coaching staff credit. I don't know if Cristobal had anything to do with this, but it seemed like that they had found and exposed a weakness on the Florida State defense by taking the ball deep. They tried an early deep pass that was incomplete, and then they stuck with it. And I thought, wow, they've noticed something here about the Florida State secondary. I don't know. I mean, I couldn't say. You watch more Florida State football than I do. Is their secondary deemed to be weak?
It was supposed to be strong.
Okay.
In that game, it wasn't the secondary overall. It was the one guy, Wilson, the transfer, who was supposed to be their strongest corner, got picked apart in that game.
Yes, they're exploiting this deep pass, and they have guys wide open, and they end up scoring a couple of touchdowns right over the top.
Yes.
With relative ease. It wasn't like this guy was making some circus catch, and you said, "Oh my God, they're all over him like a cheap suit," and they managed just to reach up. And we've seen that happen a couple of times. Beck was sharp early in that ball game. I mean, he doesn't
get pressure. He's really good. Like, that's the one thing for him, is he's very calm. He'll go through his progressions. He doesn't make the mistakes. He's just horrendous under pressure. But FSU, if anyone who's watched them, they don't get pressure. They don't get any pressure.
But you have something that's working like a charm. And at 28-3, and this was the same thing in that Florida game. We talked about how Cristobal put a lid on it and went very conservative. And the next thing you know, Florida's only down 13-7 with the ball.
Yes.
In Canes territory. Florida,
he did it too early. Florida, he did it, and it was like the second quarter, early third quarter. Like, FSU, they got up. It was in the middle of the third when they got up by 28-3, so he could then do it, and it actually made sense. The Florida game, it was ridiculous, because as bad as UF's offense is, they put a lid on it like early second half, and it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're just letting them hang around.
Well, and it gets the look. Florida State's in such a compromised position that they have to go for onside kick every time that they ended up scoring. Which okay, well, I saw that coming. They get the first one relatively easily, and I thought, you know what, this clown is going to go 3-and-out right here, and leave Florida State very much in the game at 28-11. Because you're thinking they still need. I mean, look, the game may not have been in doubt, so maybe we're being overcritical because we're only concerned about the point spread here.
Yeah.
The math was so favorable for Miami. Look, at 28-11, even if you come up like they did with another 8 points, they still have to come up with a third touchdown and a 2-point conversion to get to 28-27. There are only going to be so many possessions left in a ball game. And so I don't know, but do you want to go 3-and-out, 3-and-out, 3-and-out when you have a chance to bury a team? And you're sitting there essentially already in field goal range off the kickoff.
You take the field goals too. That's the other thing that I didn't get. Like, that's where it was 100% Cristobal, not Dawson. Like, you can, and it's what I talked about. And it's why I would, that last stupid ass pass from Castellanos is what ended the game. Because to me, if you kept it 21-3, FSU would have won the game. Like, I knew at some point the offense would slow down and wake up. Like you could see in the first half, they were trying to do way too much. Like, they were chucking it down the field when they didn't have to. They weren't doing any screens. They weren't working it underneath at all. The UM secondary is not only their weakness, it's not good. And they weren't attacking the secondary at all. They were either like running weird reverses or chucking it down the field. Like, it was just dumb. It was like, if they can just settle down, they can move the ball on this defense. Don't just keep it at 21. Once he threw that stupid ass pass into double coverage, it was like, okay, the game's over. Like, no matter what happens, he's going to go conservative, and we'll probably score, but the game's over. If it stayed at 21-3, we were going to get to 21-10. Like, and then once you get you're down 2 scores to the Canes with over a quarter left. He doesn't know. That's the other thing, is he doesn't know how to turn it back on. Like, he's like, oh shoot, we have to go throwing it now.
Can't stop. I mean,
he doesn't know how to do it. So that's the thing. The Canes won. The Canes played really strong.
They pounded FSU through most of that ball.
They deserve that top 5 ranking, honestly, because I feel like Bama or Georgia would beat the shit out of them. But they deserve a top 5 ranking for sure. I still think Cristobal sucks. Like, and Cane fans don't like when I say that because they don't disassociate. He's a really good recruiter, and he is good at building physical teams. That's the one thing FSU's lacking. FSU's clearly soft, and that's why the UVA loss scared me, because it really showed them to be soft, and they are soft. UM's not. UM's very physical, but he's a horrible coach. Like, even when they win, it actually proves me right. Like, he makes every game tight. Even like and for the people that are saying, well, it was like Mayo garbage points. No, he clearly didn't like any. I'm telling you, as a fan, I would have been.
They put a scare in him. There's no doubt.
No, they were going to never win the game.
They were mathematically in an impossible situation.
That's the only reason they won. If FSU
this was insurmountable, the lead they had. You thought they were going to win the game, but that's not a game you should win by a point.
It was 4 scores. Literally, even with 2-point conversions, it's 4 scores.
Yes.
And even Bills, Houston Oilers, I don't know, it was like a quarter and a half and 4 scores. Like, and it wasn't a mismatch. UM's the better team, clearly. So the game was done. But I still feel very strong in they're going to lose 2 games this year. Like, it's not even.
You think Miami's going to lose? Their schedule is pathetic.
Schedule sucks, but they play enough, because that's the thing with him, right? Like, the decent teams are the teams you have to be scared of.
He can cost you a game without question, and
they're
he certainly
lose 1 for sure.
Cost bettors their money.
But between Louisville, remember, Louisville's 4-1. Louisville's not bad, and they're a physical team. Those are the teams the soft teams they're okay against, because they can push, they can impose their will, and eventually he's going to ruin the game, but they can get up by so much, and they can tire you out so much that eventually they can win.
It's mind-boggling. It really is.
The physical teams are the teams they struggle against, because even though that's what they're good at, they now have to play 4 quarters. Their problem is when it's a tight game, that's when Mario gets in the way and ruins it.
Oh, my God.
When they have a big lead, his ruining it only hurts us so much. It's when they play Georgia Tech, when they play.
It's going to cost them one of these games. You might be right. Sure.
Oh, they're going to lose 1 for sure. I have no doubt.
Wow.
The 2, I don't know. That might be my hating. But between Louisville, Syracuse, Pitt is always physical. Pitt's always physical. And then they would have to play a conference championship against the one team they missed that always has their number, Georgia Tech. So to me, unlike last year, they played tough games. So it's not like it's a weak schedule. They played 3 ranked teams, and they've beaten all 3 of those teams. And even Florida, for as garbage as they are, just beat Texas. So they've done their job. They are a good team. I still don't trust him at all.
Cristobal would be the strongest factor in terms of, and it's a Cristobal factor, aptly named, in any possibility that they would lose. Brian says Ohio State would crush.
I think OSU, Oregon, Georgia, and Alabama are better teams than them.
Meanwhile, what do you do about your man Franklin there? Not Ben Franklin.
He's what we thought he was.
Wow, they lose to UCLA. That was a shocker. And a friend of mine, this guy is a huge Penn State fan. He actually ended up at the Parrot Lounge, which is a big Penn State bar, Philadelphia Eagles bar. I didn't even know it still existed. I remember I used to be friendly with the guy that owned it, or he was either the owner or general manager there, a guy named Tyrone Chabon, who was also, he doubled, his secret life was that he was a ring announcer. So I used to see him at a lot of local boxing events, and we were always talking about the Parrot. And I used to go there, but it's been like probably 35, 40 years since I've been there, Libby. So this friend of mine, Andrew, he shows up, big Penn State fan. He dropped off one of my buddies at a wedding around the Los Olas area there. And so he goes to the Parrot Lounge, and they're already down like 35-0 or something to UCLA. It was a ridiculous blowout. So that was a big shocker over the weekend. Penn State really isn't all that good. And then looking around college football, I don't know what else stuck out for you. Texas Tech, pretty good team, right, Lubie? Surprisingly, they blow out Houston. Gators beating Texas, of course, was.
Yeah, that was weird.
You talk about salvation. Does Billy Napier save his job over that alone? And
yes. I mean, they're going to lose.
Bama beat Vandy pretty handily. That was also maybe indicative that Kalen DeBoer has actually got this team on track. And
he's a good coach.
You think that first game against Florida State was a little bit more of an aberration. He's now beaten Georgia. Yep. And a Vanderbilt team that was getting a lot of credit. Nick Saban was on the pregame show, the game day show, and he was saying, and this, I'm screaming this message to Mario Cristobal, but he was saying, you know what, you win the game on offense. You win the game by putting points on the board.
Yes.
Of course, you have to play good defense, but you can't win Rock, without putting points on the board. And I will always maintain this no matter how long I've been watching sports. And it's like dance with the girl you brung kind of thing. If something's working, don't go away from it and completely reverse your strategy. Don't make a 180-degree turnaround. It's never good for momentum. And it's the one thing, I mean, if you just wanted to be suicidal, self-sabotage, you go away from whatever is working for you in your game and you say, okay, I got this thing in the bag. It's like the prevent defense. What does it prevent? It prevents winning. Yes. The prevent offense is the same, same kind of insidious disease. And Mario seems to be afflicted with that. So I'm with you, Lubie. This guy is a danger.
They're not. I mean, look, they're going to be happy because it's very much Franklin. Like, he's going to lose. If he plays really good teams, he's probably not going to win that game. He's going to throw away one stupid game versus an ant team every year. And I don't see them winning a title with him, but they'll win 8 to 10 games, maybe 11 games. They'll contend for the conference, and they'll be top 15, for most of every year. So Cane fans will be happy with him. I just think there's a ceiling on him. I think as a coach, look, you're going to say they outcoached FSU. I don't think they outcoached FSU at all. I think it was. It
was a good pickup there. Whatever they picked up on, they looked to exploit that early because I was so happy they threw the ball deep, even though they didn't connect on that pass. And then you thought, okay, well, he threw one bomb, so he's probably not going to do it again. And he came right back to it and scored a touchdown over the top and used that strategy to open up the ball game. And I thought, wow, this is great. This is real preparation on the part of Mario Cristobal and his staff that they found and were exploiting what appeared to be a weakness that we didn't even know about on the FSU. Was FSU getting beaten over the top prior to that?
No, Tony White is on the – that's why, and Ken talked about it, because of the UVA game, Alabama, they were playing Alabama, they were aggressive, but I still think they were playing too deep. Like, they were playing a very soft defense. They were playing, keep everything in front of them, don't let anything down the field, and it didn't work versus UVA. So he clearly realized versus Miami that even though Miami hasn't tested it down the field a lot, that with between Tony and Daniels, they could. So he.
But you're thinking Mario's in there with his boys, and probably somebody else pointed this out to him, and they were very, going over films, Zapruder style, and they say, "Hey, look at this. We can take advantage of this." And you're actually happy that Cristobal had a game plan that was effective and impactful, and that maybe was a little bit of a departure from what he likes to do, which is run the ball down your throat. So I was really sort of appreciative of that. I'm thinking maybe Mario learned something. And then, sure enough, we get to that onside kick situation, possession after FSU was scoring. And a couple of those got really dicey also, Lubie. I mean, the ball's bouncing around like it's in a pinball machine. Yes.
FSU should have gotten the second onside, and then it becomes a game because they were scoring in like 45 seconds. So
you would have thought they lost, and we ended up not only covering the point spread on that thing, but Miami did get its victory. So you're saying be wary, Canes fans. Don't be in open celebration yet as you look at it.
Look, they're top 5. They've beaten 3 ranked teams. Notre Dame's not good, but and FSU, I don't know what FSU is clearly, and USF, who knows, but they won. It wasn't last year's schedule where they played 3 FCS teams. They played 3 top 25 teams. They were in control of all 3 games, and they won. But that's the problem is, and it's what I've said. I don't know about film and this and that because FSU hasn't run that. FSU I think they were more aggressive in this game, and that's what they noticed early. Maybe I don't know, but that's if you watched Miami in the first halves, and I know had a lot going on, so you haven't watched. That's the exact game they play. Like they will have a more open offense in the first half. They'll score a lot. Yes. They'll look good, and then in the second half, they said it in the game. They're like, yeah, Mario likes to sit on leads.
Why wasn't he just pull his starters at that point?
Freaking weird. Let's
get some kids some experience here. We're up 28-3.
I was fine with it because they got up that extra touchdown was something he usually doesn't have like 5. It's usually like a 3-score lead. Sure. And he sits on that, and that's sort of dumb because their defense is good in areas, but it's not like
this was Gettysburg Address 4-score.
Calling it dominant. I feel weird saying it's not dominant because it can be dominant. Like their defense can be dominant at times, but you do see teams move the ball. You do see teams score. So it's not overall dominant. Like if you go more slack on offense and you're keeping the defense on the field, people are going to score against it, which is what you've seen all year. Like, so I feel like he lets Shannon Dawson call the first half. And then the second half, he puts on the all right.
Sure.
It's like, what?
That was atrocious. I just felt that coming, and I really was sad to be correct about that because I'm thinking just throw another one over the top there and ice this ball game, just like you should have done against the Florida Gators. I mean, you should put these teams away, bury them when you have the chance.
Well, and then he does it. Then he tries to do it late, where like you've already gone conservative. You're now in field goal range.
Exactly.
You're now in field goal range. Kick the field goal.
Get some points.
Instead, on 4th and 10, they try to throw it. If FSU's linebackers were decent at all, that's a pick 6. Like, Beck threw some moon ball that look, if Tony catches it, he has the sideline. He wasn't catching it. It was a horrendous pass as Beck was getting blitzed. Like, so you're running it the whole second half. You're finally in a place where you kick the field goal, you'll be up 12, and you don't kick the field goal. You throw it, you don't run it, making them use a timeout or you throw it, giving them an incompletion that the clock would have stopped. It was 4th down, but it's like that could have very easily, first of all, there was a blitzer, so he could have knocked it out of his hand and they could have ran it back. Or it was a moon ball that if the linebackers were competent at all and were reading the wheel route, that's a pick. It wasn't like the normal wheel route throw. It was like down in the air a long time. Like,
should not have been a game.
Throwing it now, you're throwing it like you don't want to throw the whole second half. Even I was like, "Oh, that's a weird decision."
Unbelievable. Yeah. Cristobal factor. I mean, that's all I could think about. I think I might have texted that to you several times.
I defended it because I'm like, it's actually smart because the only way they can lose this is if they allow FSU to get the ball in turnovers in short fields. Like that's the only way they can lose. And what they were doing was playing. UM fans were calling prevent. It wasn't prevent. They had their starters out there and they were rushing 4 and 5. They were playing too high.
FSU, they escaped several times with 4th down plays and things like that. It did seem like Miami was going to finally squelch whatever rally they had going, but FSU kept.
They were making them work to score.
Series of miracles, sure.
What you want them to do when you're up by multiple scores. So
I don't think they went into an overwhelming prevent. That
they were playing defense, and it's fine. But it was like. He didn't. I think it was actually smart in that regard. It's just he still picks his spots to be.
No, I mean the prevent was the prevent offense, which is.
Yeah.
I think that's when Cristobal opens up his offensive playbook. The first page, I think, is the prevent. All right, we're going to come back in just a moment. A few other things to talk about here on the program. An hour flying by. A lot of activity over the weekend, and as we said, great time of the year. You have the baseball playoffs again. I was sort of engaged in that. A lot of football. Kansas City Chiefs going to be on the field tonight, and this Mark Sanchez story is kind of weird. So
maybe you know more than I do. I only saw blurbs of it. Like I still don't.
The plot thickens here. I have a picture here, and I want to try and pop it up so it's visible to the viewers here on the show. But very, very bizarre story. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment on that. The show's almost over. It's 8:54.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Joe Bees. The bees collect the pollen, bring it to Joe, he packages it, and he gets it to you. It's simple, 100% natural, and it's good for you.
There's only one place to get Joe Bees, and that's from me. Joe Bee.
If you want to look and feel good, call 877-300-5632.
I have sinned against you, my Lord.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on the Defo Show.
All right, this is one of the strangest stories I think that's emerged recently on the sports scene, and that's saying a lot because let's face it, there are a lot of bizarre things that happen in the world of sports, especially on the criminal side, and unfortunately with tragedy involved as well. And this is a truly tragic story, I believe. So I don't want to make fun of it, but this was startling, and a lot of people are confused. I don't know if this is visible to the people. That's the guy.
Is foul.
That's the guy that Sanchez allegedly attacked.
Okay, so Sanchez attacked someone, or they attacked him?
Here's what I can gather from the details, and I've seen this now a couple of times. And the reason people are asking, how did a guy get stabbed and then he gets arrested and charged with they charged him with 3 misdemeanors. So apparently this guy was driving in Indianapolis a grease truck where he takes the whatever it is, the oil out of the restaurant that's already been used, and then he brings them whatever fresh stuff they need to conduct their business as a restaurant. So he parks by a loading dock at a place where Mark Sanchez, he was drinking at this bar, and for whatever reason, and they have video of this from the security cameras, Sanchez, while apparently intoxicated, is running wind sprints in the alley behind this bar.
What?
He's just on his own. I don't know if there were people with him, but they have him, and he's running wind sprints. And I guess he took exception to the fact that the guy had parked this truck by the loading dock, which is perfectly normal and right within the protocol that you would expect. He wasn't doing anything wrong. 69-year-old truck driver, just trying to make a buck, working late at night. This was a little bit after midnight. And Sanchez, for whatever reason, takes exception with the fact that the guy was parked at the loading dock and goes to the truck and sort of confronts the guy. All right, so they have, I guess, a conversation that was unsatisfying to Sanchez in terms of what this guy was going to do about moving the truck. And it results in a confrontation where Sanchez apparently body slams this guy onto the pavement somehow. I mean, I don't mean to laugh about this, but
that's crazy.
How absurd is this? And,
You like, doesn't he work with Fox now? Like he has like a real like
he
a.
was there to call the Colts game.
Oh, he's
And
calling games. He's doing color analysis.
he was going to be the color analyst, or either the color analyst. I know he's on the pregame show, but I think he was going to be the color analyst on the Colts game that they played against the Las Vegas Raiders. So he's in town, and this was apparently what, Friday night?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I heard. I've heard
Already in Indianapolis. You know this. I mean, Indianapolis pretty much is shut down. Is it not? Not a lot of activity there. The guy's 69 years old anyway, so you're looking at a relatively older guy. You're Mark Sanchez. You're 38. You're 6'3", 200 and something pounds. He appears to be in pretty good shape, but apparently was significantly intoxicated. Was running these wind sprints for some reason, and because this guy, I'm assuming, was blocking his path, he confronts him. It ends up getting physical. He body slams the guy onto the pavement, and the guy, in response, trying to fight off what appeared to be a guy that might have been on angel dust or something. One of these guys that all of a sudden has got overwhelming strength. He pepper sprays him. I guess he had this as a defense device that he kept on him for whatever reason while he was doing his job. And eventually, after they continue to scrap, Sanchez continues to try and pummel this guy. He must have broken out a knife, and he stabbed Sanchez several times. Sanchez was in critical condition at one point, but has been released since from the hospital. But this guy also ends up, as they're struggling, he ends up as he gets the knife goes through his cheek and through his tongue, and he ends up in the hospital himself in very, very sad shape. So you would imagine, I mean, and that's the reason why Sanchez was charged. Apparently, he was the aggressor in this entire incident. Had done some physical harm to this guy, and what was a bona fide threat to his safety. The man says, and it seems to be the case, that according to these videos, that he responded in self-defense, had a knife on him, ends up stabbing Sanchez, ends up getting stabbed himself with, I mean, it's not clear on the picture that I held up because of the graininess of it here, but you can see just a wicked cut, like an Al Capone type of cut on this guy's face, and he's all banged up. And so, 69-year-old delivery driver hospitalized, and I think he's still in the hospital. And Sanchez finds himself. That is the weirdest story, Louis. What would provoke a guy that was in a position like Mark Sanchez? I mean, this is a guy that's had a pretty charmed life. You would have to think. I know his NFL career wasn't overwhelmingly distinguished. He did go to 2 AFC title games, but nobody ever thought he was a great quarterback except for Mike Tannenbaum, who gave this guy like $100 and something million, didn't he? Back when that was a huge contract. And he's had a decent career so far. I don't watch a lot of Fox pregame stuff, but Sanchez at least has distinguished himself enough to get to the point where they're using him now as a color analyst on games, which we know. I mean, look at the salaries of some of these color analysts. Not a bad spot to be in. Why would you jeopardize that over something so stupid as trying to get a guy to move a truck from the loading dock? It isn't as if he was parked in some handicap space and Sanchez observed some poor crippled lady that couldn't have access to the bar. And apparently heavily intoxicated. At least that was according to the police report and the assertions of this guy that got hurt, the 69-year-old truck driver. And so you would have to think, what? That's it for Mark Sanchez, no? How can you bring him back? I mean, hopefully he's okay and he survives and is going to be all right. But
I mean, the whole thing's weird.
I mean, talk about a tragic incident, and what would possess a guy to go ahead and commit this physical assault on some poor 70-year-old guy that's just driving a truck for a living that did not initiate, according to all of the reports, did nothing to initiate this kind of physical altercation. So weird story, Lubie. But people are trying to figure out how is it, and wasn't that the stunning thing that came out when you found out, wow, Mark Sanchez has been stabbed? It was probably some back alley people trying to rob him.
Yeah.
Fancy watch on, and instead he initiated the altercation. And it was over where this guy parked his truck, which was perfectly within the boundaries and the parameters of what anybody in that situation would do. There was no reason for him to move the truck. He's got this grease that he's got to transport. I don't know. I mean, I would imagine a highly flammable material. You got to be pretty careful with that. Is he going to park 2 blocks away because Sanchez is going to run wind sprints while he's drunk behind the alleyway of a bar? It wasn't like there was some person that was in jeopardy that this guy was threatening and Sanchez intervened. Just a totally ugly incident there involving Mark Sanchez, who you wouldn't anticipate that, would you? From Mark Sanchez, he seemed like a decent guy, didn't he? In spite of the
you never heard him to be like a malcontent or anything like that. I don't know. He started to have a decent broadcasting career. If he's now calling games and he's moved up to like a place where you can make a real living. I mean, I hear him do guest spots. He's decent. Like, yeah, that's weird.
He can't possibly need the money even from his broadcasting.
Well, he made a crap load in the NFL. Yeah, I don't know. The whole thing's just, it's very.
For a guy that was a somewhat mediocre quarterback, he was one of those quarterbacks that you had to manufacture an offensive game around.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And Rex was at the height of his powers as a Jet coach at the time, Rex Ryan, and he was able to. Look, we've seen this with the Dolphins for how many years post Marino, where you're just trying to manufacture a game that works, almost as if we're doing the same thing in watching Tua. Just give us something that works, figure it out, and give us something that works. That was Sanchez, and wow, it's sad all the way around. I mean, 2 people got badly hurt in this incident, but apparently it was all provoked by Mark Sanchez taking exception to this guy doing his job, where he was clearly the aggressor, at least according to the reports, all the way through. So now facing arrest, and you would have to think, I don't know, does he? Who could look at Sanchez in the same light after doing something like that? And we all make mistakes, Lubie. Yeah, everybody out there, I think, can't possibly feel like that they've never made a mistake in their life. But would you attack a guy over this?
No. The whole thing's weird. I don't know what to do with any of it. I mean, again, then they started trying to say, well, Indianapolis is very rough. It's like, what? No, it's not.
Oh, well, that was several racist people.
It's not rough even a little. It's Indianapolis. Like, our least rough area is rougher than, like.
The only thing rough about it was the time we got stiffed to a table because Jim Ray was there at that restaurant that's so famous for having a shrimp cocktail, which I'm thinking, if that's your claim to fame as a restaurant, what do you do with a shrimp cocktail? You stick a bunch of shrimp in a thing with ice, and hopefully you have a decent sauce, which you can pretty much get anywhere. You can go and get almost any cocktail sauce, Lubie, and it's probably going to be pretty good, right? So what was the name of that place again?
St. Elmo's.
What was it? Oh, St. Elmo's. Yeah.
St. Elmo's.
Imagine you're lined up out the door there, and it's hard to get a table because they have a shrimp cocktail. What are we talking about? Circus for 99 cents?
Yeah,
the reason all those schleppers were lined up out the door there. But you got those little tiny shrimp, those bay shrimp, as they call them, that you get whenever you get the platter at Publix. And you're thinking, I mean, this is the definition. It's not the oxymoron of jumbo shrimp. This is a definition of a shrimp, where it's almost microscopic. You have to look at it. Do we have to go to St. Elmo's and justify our position?
I'm not running there.
No, I don't think I would ever have that much desire to return to Indianapolis. I mean, if somebody was paying me to go, I guess I would. But that Super Bowl in Indianapolis, I thought loomed as a huge mistake. What about this Bad Bunny thing? One final thing. I wanted to give you, what do you make of all of this crap? Jerry Jones, is that true that he was going to threaten a boycott of and a player strike? Who else has come out? We had
guys on American.
Danica Patrick.
We've had people from other countries do it. No one complained. He's literally American. I don't. And again, like I said last week, the halftime show's not for the football.
Who cares?
Why do you care? I've never watched that. Like, I've watched 3.
How could it be a big deal, though? I mean, they put these rappers up there, which is fine. I don't have anything against rap music, but I mean, they're known for their crotch grabbing and F-word laced, expletive laced lyrics. And Roger Goodell thinks this is good family entertainment. That's fine.
No, I don't know. It's not about family entertainment either. It's because kids go to bed half the time. It's a Sunday night. It's late by halftime. It's the halftime's always been to bring in eyeballs. Like, the only reason they went to the old white people was because Janet Jackson showed a boob. Like, before that, they never did that. It was always risque acts that pushed the envelope and was to draw in the non-fan. Again, the Super Bowl became a party back in the 80s and on, to where you'd get women, you'd get older people, you'd get people who normally wouldn't watch there. So it's like, oh, how can we keep their attention and maybe have them come back? Let's get some.
Well, it's part of the festivities. It's part of the broadcast.
Acts. Like I literally outside of the Bruno Mars because I was in a bar in New York.
Bruno Mars was great, by the way.
And that was a good one. And outside of Shakira and J-Lo because I was with my wife and
Prince.
her mom, and
The
they were,
best.
well, I was young for that, but
Yeah.
those I watched those two because I was with people who cared. Even
Sure.
those people who I'm okay with as artists, I still wouldn't have watched. I would have gone and gotten food. I would have gone to the bathroom. Like halftime is never like if you're the football fan, it's not for you. So that's they're just missing the point. It's not about pissing anyone off or anything. It's about, again, and the NFL's tried to be global for like 40 years.
You want to have the best spotlight entertainer that you can. If
They're
you're
trying to, he's the literal number one artist in the world, and he's
Sure.
willing to do the Super Bowl. He doesn't even get paid. He's not even doing acts. He's not even doing his tour on American soil because his fans are so immigrant driven. He's scared. He doesn't want to put them in bad places where ICE will detain them. So, or kidnap them. So he's not even on American soil. He's doing this to be on American soil and perform for Americans. And they're losing their mind. And what's funny is any act they bring up proves why he's the act. They bring up like people that they don't need. Kid Rock, even in his heyday, was never good enough to be in the Super Bowl. Like Morgan Wallen. Like Morgan Wallen isn't a worldwide star. He's not even a huge American star. He's a star in certain pockets of America to certain people. Like you're bringing up niche artists versus a guy who's literally the most streamed guy by like
number one guy outside of Taylor Swift, I guess.
Like if he's willing to do it, you have him and go get your pizza. Like I don't know what to tell you. It's a weird argument people are having.
I can't believe the amount of verbiage that's being spent on this and the anxiety that it's created. All right, we have to get out of here. Lubie, always a pleasure, my friend. Good job by you. Sorry about your Seminoles, although the Cristobal factor was endangering a species of human entity that I greatly appreciate, and that is the degenerate gambler. And we'll see if it comes up and snake bites us later on in the season if you're a Canes fan. All right, thanks so much for being with us. We'll do it again tomorrow. For Mike Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. We'll see you next time as we leave you know that.
The time.
9:10.
The time.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my show.